It's audible time.
Audible.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
Hey. We both popped up live today. I seen it, and I got the notification on the phone, so we should have.
Well, you know what? I saw you pop up live yesterday.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if because sometimes the algorithms, right? They like,
Yeah.
I mean, when we go live, it doesn't go live to every single one of your connections or followers. Like the algorithm picks and chooses.
Yeah, it's whoever's clicking on it and viewing it.
Yeah. I mean, I wish it would go live, but we're also having today. I noticed Restream's having an issue with Twitter. So Twitter's not working on Restream, and DJ and I have our conspiracy theories about why that's working, or why that's not working. But
they're Elons. They're Elons. Listen, I didn't make any of this out. They're
Elons. Yeah. Good morning, Lisa. And Lisa double banged this morning. That's Lisa. Good. Just take it out, Jeff, completely. 100%. Good morning, Jeff. So we had to pull a little bit of an audible again this morning.
These are fun shows.
Our guest, Steve Rizzo, unfortunately, he's gone MIA on us. We're not sure where he is or what he's doing. So, Steve, if you are watching, you're supposed to be somewhere else right now.
Right down here.
Yeah. So what we did is, because Thursdays are I love Thursdays. I mean, I think Wednesday is probably one of the most important days in our industry, because Dean's on and sharing a lot of proactive data on how we can get ahead of things. But also there's the 6 inches between our ears that I think is and I can share with you, and I'll share more tomorrow on wins and lessons, but I can tell you one thing: the 6 inches between my ears these days has been my greatest asset and my biggest opponent. And I selected some videos today because we when it comes to guests, we tend to back ourselves up now, DJ and I, so we don't necessarily are scattering at 8:58, because we respect your time. We respect that y'all are here every day religiously, and we love it, and we honor and cherish and love you all for doing that. So we want to make sure we bring value. So what we did today is we preloaded a couple of videos that we're going to start going through, and then we're going to talk about the video. So the first one is with our dear friend Bob Berg. And Bob talks about acknowledging that adversity actually exists. And, DJ, this goes back, for me anyways, the philosophy of this goes back to G.I. Joe. Knowing is half the battle, right? Like, you go to launch a company, there's going to be barriers that you're going to break through. There's going to be issues. There's going to be challenges. So it's like, okay, not that I wish it, but I'm expecting it. So when it hits, it's like, okay, boom, it hits you, and it kind of just bounces a bit instead of throwing you off your feet. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And this next one with Bob, I think is really going to drive home for a lot of people. So y'all ready? Actually, hold on. Before we get there,
and whoever's watching right now on LinkedIn, if you're not following Bob Berg, make sure you follow him. He puts some good stuff out still.
Oh, Bob's awesome.
Bob is awesome.
And we're trying our best to get schedules lined up, because we're a live show, right? So if we were pre-recorded, it'd be so much easier to get guests on. But because we're a live show, like we schedule Brian a month in advance just to be here for the time, right? And we've seen that sometimes schedules change, and he's in his car and it doesn't work and all that. So we're going to continue to bring you guests every Tuesdays and Thursdays, with Dean on Wednesdays, DJ and I on Mondays and Fridays, with Mr. Mark Ridley. And then we got Jeff Dickinson every second Wednesday on Data Day, which is awesome as well. We're really killing it with the guests and stuff, right? But anyways,
it's been so much fun.
Let's stop boasting about how awesome we are.
Thank you, everybody who does make the time. Because it is tough. It really is tough.
It is. I mean, listen, beginning of the day, right? Things are happening. Like, loads are moving. Things are happening. Operations are having, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. And you still make it here to listen and share your wisdom and the things you do. And I noticed, I don't know if you noticed yesterday, DJ, but from Tuesday when I wasn't on, when you logged in as the presenter, you changed your name.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize yesterday we were both DJ Flores for the whole morning show. So that was
fun.
Are
you serious? I did not notice that either.
I only realized it this morning when I logged in. I went, DJ Flores. I'm like, geez, did I lose my hair already? What's happening? Because I mean, really, it's a goatee and hair, and that's it. And we're both pretty much the same.
That's right.
And it's and we learn that more and more as we become better and better friends. But let's dive into acknowledging adversity exists with Bob Burke.
Adversities seem to come, you know how the big thing is, you know, it happens in threes. Adversities, I mean, even for myself, they seem to come in like 5 or 6s when you're really, you know, oh, okay, I understand that, but I now know why that's happened because of this.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's the thing, and they do seem to come together, and a lot of times it's only because when we're going through something that's difficult, we're maybe not in as strong a position as we normally would be, and so things happen that, you know, that seem to then compound it even more. So, you know, I'm not one to wax too philosophical about it. I think it's the type of thing where when these happen, we, again, as you said it very well, you've got to live in reality and acknowledge that it's there. Burying our heads in the sand, hoping that it, you know, if we don't look at it, it will go away, doesn't work. So we need to acknowledge it and then plan on how to overcome it and then do the thing we need to do.
Okay. So, I mean, very short, but to the point. And did y'all see how many books Bob's got in the background there? Did y'all see that? Because immediately when he started talking, I'm like, man, this man's got a lot of books. Like, I mean, books stacked on top of books on top of books. And
Yes.
you know, readers. Yeah. I mean, but talking about adversity, DJ, right? We all face adversity. There's adversity in growth. There's adversity in stagnation. There's adversity even when we choose not to make sales calls. There's adversity that comes with it, right?
Yeah,
and I truly believe, and I'd love your take on it. And all y'all watching and listening, what's your take on it? Where does adversity play? You see, I find the more adversity I face, the better I get. And whether that be wisdom, spirituality, like understanding that, okay, I'm facing this huge adversity, but I can't let it break my spirit. I can bend, but not break, as Marcus Ogden often talks about. All these things, I tend to look for those gold nuggets. And it's like Bob said, you know, sometimes it's very hard to see the bright side of something. You know, I remember when my brother died, it was like, what's the bright side of this? And how could there ever be a bright side, right? And it's like, and you have to dig deep to find happiness in challenge. And, you know, it's going to be a big conversation tomorrow, but wanted to kind of preset the tone, if you will, with the fact that, you know, one thing Bob said is acknowledge it, figure out a plan to overcome it, and work the plan, pretty much. But often adversity becomes paralyzing. Right. And so that's the kind of juxtaposition. That's the teeter-totter that we play. Right. What's your thoughts there, DJ?
Dude, yeah. So adversity to me, is one of those things where this giant training program is amazing, but you know, they break down inhibitor and prohibition, and is whatever adversity we're running into. And I think even before getting into this, I think what I started to notice anytime I felt like something was against me, I mean, that's usually what adversity feels like. Something is pushing against you. I obviously would get panicked or freaked out or not know how to respond. Then I started to kind of visualize it almost like a cartoon. You know how I don't know, cartoon, like this black cloud coming over you, and all of a sudden eventually you're just going to turn all black. But I think like adversity is like this
like
area
Venom?
that you, what's that?
Like Venom?
Yeah, basically.
I'd be cool with that. I'd be cool with that.
Yes. If it takes over you completely, you're Venom. You go from Spider-Man to, that is a great example, actually. And so you go from Spider-Man to Venom. And I think like that blackness we can either get stuck there and live there and become Venom, or we got to swim like hell, figure out in that black cloud what we're supposed to find, and find that, because it's there for a reason. It's trying to fix something with us. It's trying to teach us something. I don't think adversity ever comes at us for any other reason than to teach us. There's something we're missing that we need to figure out. And that's where I just used it as, in my head, it's like that. Like, okay, this sucks, whatever the hell is going on right now, but I need to figure out why, and fast, so that this black cloud disappears. And that's, I guess, I don't know.
I love that you said that, because I've often seen adversity as, what's the lesson? And if you don't learn the lesson, that adversity will pop up again, right? Like, you look at it from a logistics perspective. You know, the lesson, I have a truck in your area. You do? Okay, find me a truck. And you're like, I don't have a truck in that area. I don't have a truck. And then you work hours to find a truck, and then you look like a fool because you don't have a truck. You've let this person down. You've spent months trying to close them, to leave them hanging. And you're like, man, I'm never going to do that again. And the next week you're like, I got a truck in your area. Right?
Exactly. I mean, you didn't learn a damn thing.
it's kind of a lame down version of adversity, but it's the same thing, right? You're setting yourself up for that challenge to give yourself more issues. And, we got a ton of comments coming in, but just share this quickly. Sometimes we bring it on ourselves. By accepting too many things, or trying to do too much, or saying, okay, here's my lane. And like Jeff often talks about, we veer off the highway and go on another lane, and we veer off the highway and go on another lane. Like, I have people connecting with me daily saying, hey, can you do this, this, and this? Like a big one is recruiting. I have so many people connecting with me every week saying, hey, can you become a recruiter? And we'll give you a bonus for bringing people in. And I'm like, and I'll be honest with you, the first time I got the message, I was like, that'd be pretty cool, getting to talk to salespeople, finding the best place for a salesperson to work so they can excel and really become the best version of themselves. And I'm thinking, well, hold on. This is my mission. And yes, the house you live in logistics is a very big part of your success.
Yes.
But is it adding or subtracting from my students and everyone I work with? And I eventually realized it would probably subtract from what I'm doing, right? Would it be really cool to have like 5-6 different companies that you spoke to that like their core values, and you can put salespeople and strategically place them where they're going to thrive and become better individuals and be more, do more, and achieve more, and help them achieve their goals? Sure. But that's like a function all on its own. Then you start adding everything else we do, and then I just find it gets diluted. But if I would have said yes at an opportunity to make more money, or at just another opportunity to add another multiple source of income to my business, I'm thinking I would have faced adversity. I really would have, because am I able to spend as much time? And when we have Greg Reed on, he's going to share something about his umbrella. So him and John Assaraf. So John Assaraf was another individual in The Secret, for those of you that aren't aware. John Assaraf and Greg Reed are really good friends. And I remember Greg telling me something that John told him. He said, Greg, here's the thing. In life, you get what you can get under your umbrella. Everything else will get wet. What's your umbrella? And so what's that core, right? And I think this is a lesson that we should all really pay attention to, is what's under my umbrella, right? Some people have 50 companies under their umbrella, and it's golden. Some people don't, right? Some people don't. Some people have 3 things under their umbrella, and they're stressed to the 9. So what is under your umbrella? And everything else will get wet. And sometimes, so I kind of left that recruiting piece out to get wet, because I didn't feel it was congruent in my umbrella, if that makes sense.
I love your umbrella. I love that analogy. But I will tell you, you did say one thing. You said sometimes adversity. I really think that every adversity that comes my way is always my fault. And I think that's just taking ownership. The choices I make, 100%. Whether I choose to believe or do this or that, whatever I chose, caused this to now appear.
Every
So,
action has an equal or opposite reaction,
yeah,
DJ.
yeah,
So, I mean, it's just the vacuum law of prosperity and vacuum
yes,
law in general. Like, right, if you read the laws, the vacuum law, and it's,
yeah,
like anything. I have a coffee cup here on a coaster. I can't put another coffee cup there until I get rid of this coffee cup. Now, if I choose to put a bigger coffee cup or a smaller coffee cup or an espresso, that's a choice. If I make the choice to put an espresso there and I have 2 sips of my espresso's gone and I have to sit here for another 30 minutes without something to drink and I'm dying of thirst, that's an adversity, really. I mean, at its smallest level,
yeah,
it's an
yeah,
adversity
yeah,
because you want another coffee, but I'm doing a show. So I made the choice to go, you know what I mean? So,
yeah,
and I agree with you. I think everything that happens to us
yeah.
is because of
We,
the choices we make.
when,
But this is the
yeah,
beautiful thing that Rico talks about. Change it with the very next choice. Okay. I'm
that's
never going to
right.
do that again. And, here's the thing. I've often said to students multiple times, victories, failures, remember this feeling. Internalize this feeling. If you hate it and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe the way this feels. This is brutal. Remember it.
Remember that.
Because when you
Yeah.
go to make that same choice, the strategy is remember that feeling. Hey, last time I made this choice, it didn't work. I'm going to make a different choice. And there's going to be a different result. Like everything we do, everything in life, you can choose to turn left or right. If you choose to turn right, maybe you're going to have a longer transit to where you're going. But it's a choice. The consequence is you're in the car longer. Now, that consequence of being in the car longer might suit you because you got some really good audiobook going. You know what I mean? So there's
There
the
you go.
variables are
Exactly. Yeah, I was
unlimited,
going to
right?
say
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah. Jeff says words to live by, Dan. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Lisa says yes. Chad, 16-year-old Dan. Wow. Brother, I wish, man. That was 10 years ago. So I was 35 there. But I kind of look like I'm 15.
I will tell you, in
Crazy.
your old videos, your blue eyes are like popping out of the screen. Every old video, your blue, like they're like
So now,
popping out of the screen.
are they not now, or what's going on? I'm just are the bags under my eyes too big that they're clouding it? Or maybe I was thinner. I don't know. Maybe I got too much cushion above and below my eyes. I don't know. But yeah, Lisa says under pressure. Yes.
Yeah,
Jeff says if you don't face adversity, you're never learning or advancing in your personal and business careers. I love that. Chad says adversity is where you find some of our greatest breakthroughs and gifts. Yes. And here's the thing, right?
Yes.
Josh Hines said it so well. He said, yes, adversity exists. And yes, does every adversity change us? Yes. If we choose to find the gold. If we choose to find the gold. And again, goes back to mindset. Everything starts with 6 inches right here. Everything.
Well, Dan, it's the book you just talked about, 3 Feet from Gold. I mean, that's
great book. Great book. Have you got it yet?
No, but I have not.
You got to get it. You got, brother. It is so that and Outwitting the Devil.
Well, yeah, Outwitting the Devil. That's actually my quote for today is from that because that book has.
Yeah.
If nobody's read that book, you have to read that book. It's life changing, especially today. It is so relevant today, y'all. You need to read.
Well, so here's the thing: so the story with 3 Feet from Gold. I don't know if we talked about this, but I had the pleasure of sitting down with Sharon Lecter, who took Napoleon Hill's original manuscript and created 3 Feet from Gold. Her and Greg Reed, and they wrote 3 Feet from Gold and Outwitting the Devil together. Right, those two books, both of them wrote on behalf of Napoleon Hill Foundation, Don Green. And the story behind that manuscript is one of the most amazing stories you'll ever hear. Like in 1902, that manuscript was written, and Napoleon Hill put it in a safe, and he said the world's not ready for this. And then in 2008, when the economy collapsed, they said the world's ready for it. We got to put it out, and they put it out. And it's funny, you just said it is so relevant today, Dan. Like 10 plus years later,
right?
And it's crazy. And if you guys, any of you out there have ever had little conversations with yourself where you feel like you got an angel and the devil sitting on your shoulder and you're just kind of going back and forth listening to the chatter in your head, that is a book you must get, because that chatter will get calmed immediately and it will open your eyes to some. And you know what, speaking of, I'm actually gonna start listening to it again today.
Oh, you have to.
I love
it. My gosh, I'm telling you, dude.
Yeah.
Holy
yeah.
cow.
So biggest breakthroughs and gifts. Yeah. So Chad comes back and says, as long as we don't let it break us.
Bend, don't break, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah. It's bend. Marcus Ogden talked about it on our summit, or actually when he was it on our summit, or it might have been the high performance logistics summit or the day summit that you and I did. But he says, like, bend, don't break. Because when your spirit breaks, that's when things get real difficult.
It's hard to come back from.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure I've told you the story about Napoleon Hill and his son Blair, when his son Blair was in the hospital, and he was born without ears. And Napoleon Hill said, you know what, my son's going to hear. He's not going to go through life being a deaf mute. And he said, my son's going to hear. And you got to remember, right, the perspective and belief patterns back then were so skewed compared to today, right? Like, deaf mutes were like, bottom part of society, and just he says, like, no, they're not. He's not going to be. And the doctor puts his arm around Napoleon and says, Napoleon, sometimes in life we have no control over anything. And he goes, doctor, you're wrong. I have control over everything in life, even if it's as simple as not letting the challenge or adversity break my spirit. And that for me is one of the most profound things anyone could have said. And I have thousands of personal development books. I've read a book a week for the last
I've read so many
years.
damn books. With that book, let me tell you, that book is crazy.
So. Yeah. Jeff says, face adversity with open arms and welcome it. You'll be happy you did, as it will become stronger on the other side and wiser because of it. So I've got a story about that, Jeff. When I first started podcasting, I had the opportunity to work with Voice America. And Voice America is was at that point the leading online radio show. And so I created a podcast called The Adversity Connection. And what I decided to do was exactly what Jeff said: talk about hitting adversity with open arms and how it does that. The first month was awesome. Then all of a sudden, and this is unreal how the universe gives you what you want. Because I must have been telling the universe, I love adversity. Because I was talking about it. I said, you know what? I got no problem with adversity. Bring it on. I'll conquer it every time. Then all of a sudden, one thing after another, after another, after another. And it was like a snowball coming down Everest at me. And I remember looking at it one day, and I was actually talking to Rico Rakoski, and I said, Rico, I have no fucking clue what's going on here. Like, every time I turn around, I'm getting hit and punched by Tyson over and over and over and over again. And I'm like, I'm about to fall. And he goes, Dan, all you do all day is talk about adversity. Why would you not think it would come into your life? And I went, what? He goes, you're making a choice to bring adversity into your life. And I went, no, it can't be that simple. He goes, brother, I love you. It is. I changed the show. Yeah, I changed the show to Little Conversations Today. How the conversations in our head can make us better or worse depending on what we do about it. And I know this might
everything changed
super overnight, DJ. Overnight. And I mean, it blew my mind. Everything changed. Opportunities started coming in. Big deals started coming in. Like, literally within 24 hours of calling Voice America, changing it, changing all the intros and everything. You guys can go. If you guys go Little Conversations Today, Voice America Radio, you will hear all of the conversations. And it was like, I was blown away. And it was, it's like most things, right? We understand conceptually what we read in books, but until we actually hit it on the head, we don't really believe it.
It's because we overcomplicate what really is as easy as it says. I mean, Trevor Moad's book, It Takes What It Takes, talking about neutral thinking. He says, and I believe this. Again, you have to believe. If you don't believe this, then it's not going to work. But if you believe, it will. But I believe what he says. Our negative thought in our head, so never spoken, is 10 times more, 7 to 10 times more likely to happen than a positive thought. When we speak it, 10 times more likely that it could happen. So if what we're positively thinking only has a one-time chance, and when we speak it 10 times, but negative has 40 to 70 times more chance, what do you think is going to happen if we're constantly talking about negative shit, listening to negative shit? Like, people just have to remove negative. Whatever is negative, get rid of it.
Well, and they have to be very intentional and aware as to what they
Yes.
say, right? Like
Yes.
you ask most people, what is your biggest dream in life? Well, I don't want this. I don't want that. It's like, no, I asked you what your biggest dream was. Because once you verbalize it, the universe doesn't understand do and don't. It just understands what it is. And I mean, there we can have hour discussions. I can pull out 100 books just on my bookshelf where each of them talks about this, right? Because it's what we put out, we get back. And when we put out positivity, we get back positivity. The fact is we all have negative thoughts. We all have conflicting thoughts. We all have
That's
thoughts
all
that
this
keep
thing
us down.
does.
It's all it does. It's like, and I've always asked, like, why on earth does the first thing that comes to mind, you get a good idea, right? We've all been there. You got a great idea and you're like, oh my God, that's great. Oh no, that won't work. It's like, whoa, hold on here. You haven't even processed.
Yeah, who just killed that?
And you just totally killed it, right? Totally killed it.
Yeah.
Speaking of killing it, you know who's killing it these days? Was that a good
transition? I lost track of time, so it was on you.
I know. I was actually surprised. I'm like, DJ hasn't sent me something 10 minutes ago. Going, dude, lane of the day. Stop talking. Lane of the day. So today's lane of the day is a reefer lane, Del Rio, Texas to Nashville, Tennessee. Line haul rate per mile $2.75. All in rate per mile, including fuel surcharge, is $3.53. The contracted rate, including fuel, is $3.31. So we're running in that 23-cent range, where we're higher on the spot market than we were actually in contracted rates, which is actually flipping a little bit considering all the lanes that we talked about over the last little bit. The year-over-year spot line haul rate per mile change is down 4 cents, which is very interesting considering how prices have been plummeting in the spot market. So your spot market on this lane, Del Rio, Texas, and Nashville, Tennessee,
that lane's staying high.
Crazy, isn't it? Like really odd that the contracted rate is still so much lower than the spot rates, and it's only a 4-cent year-over-year shift. So line haul rates are trending up after declining about 73 cents since March. Watermelon harvests are increasing in this region, 20 cents higher than the June average. So that's why.
Yeah, watermelons.
Watermelons, Yeah, watermelons. I should have probably read that before I went. That's interesting because then it becomes non-interesting because it makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, Dad. Thank you for the lane.
Yes, thank you so much. So we got we got a choice to make here, DJ.
We could probably go through the comments.
I'm thinking probably the comments before we head off because we put another video out. I think we're going to be here for another 25 minutes.
I agree.
And then maybe we'll save one of the videos for tomorrow. But Lisa says, the choice is ours to make. It's all a mindset. I love that.
It's always yours. It's always yours.
Just like the moon, you shine in darkness. I like that, Maggie. Man, she's a poet. I love it.
I love it.
The confusion. Yes, the confusion. Right? Like, unfortunately, our head just the confusion and our perspective.
If there's something again, maybe I just believe too much, but I just buy into these thoughts that people say and it makes sense. So I'm like, okay, I like it. But the brain, if you think of it this way, again, going back Neanderthals, caveman days, the brain was just there to protect us. So it seems like it's negative, but because it's always just trying to protect us. What's the worst thing that could happen? What is the worst bad thing that could happen when I'm doing that now? And it's just trying to protect us. Although it's always just looking for negative outcomes. So if you think of that,
well, and here's the thing, DJ, and this is where I get really confused on this because I've read that many times before.
Yeah.
But would you not think there would be an adaptation? How long ago Neanderthals, like how long has it been since a wild boar has attacked you while you're sitting in your backyard?
So you would think that, but
I would.
Why do we keep having the same cycles that we keep having?
Know, brother.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what we should do? We should actually, I'm going to see if I can connect with Bruce Lipton. See if he'll come on the show. Because I bet
my God, that would be amazing. I will try to because that guy is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, let me. I'm going to start doing some of that to get some heavy hitters on here and help us out
Oh, that would be
Thursdays.
so much fun.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. If adversity does not hit you and you haven't lived through it, you won't know what to do when it hits you. It's not about negativity, but it's the power of positivity to overcome whatever it is. Yeah, I like
Yes,
that.
Jess.
I
And if
like
you're
that.
not hitting enough adversity, you're not taking enough risk. If you're a high achiever, you don't want it, don't do it. But
Mhm. Well, and here's the thing. So it's a state of mind that you have to put yourself in 100%. And here's the thing. Everybody wants more. Everybody wants a multi-million dollar business. Everybody wants a good life. I don't think anyone wakes up in the morning and goes, I can't wait to deal with bullshit today. I can't wait to live at my lowest self today. I can't
yes,
wait to do absolutely nothing and accomplish nothing today. I think we all wake up with a desire. The question is, are you going to do what's needed when it's needed to get done what needs to get done? And this is where adversity, procrastination, and all these other things come into play. Sure, it would be a hell of a lot easier to sit down today and binge watch Netflix. Right, I'm in the middle of Billions series. I'm in the middle of the new season of
great show.
Animal Kingdom. You know,
Billions is
Billions is yeah, it's actually pretty cool. I mean, sure, can I sit down and watch that all day long, and probably for the next 3 weeks not have a real impact on my life? Sure, but the next 6 months after that will be massively
what's the
impacted.
adversity you're dealing with after? Yeah.
Well, and that's the whole thing, right? So,
Yeah.
like, and trust me, I've spoken to thousands of salespeople. What's your goal? I want to be the best salesperson on the planet. Okay, what are you willing? You know, okay, here's the program. Here's what the dedication is. Here's what the standard is. Here's what the coaching program is. I'll get you there in 12 months, but this is what you need to do. And I lay it out for students. Like, this is how much time a week you're going to need. This is what you need. Crickets, they disappear. Because it's like, oh, you mean it's not just a Staples easy button? I can't just make 3 phone calls and be doing $1 million in GP. It's like, no.
Yeah.
And not only that, you need to skill up, you need to level up, you need to learn and develop into the person that can run a multi-million dollar GP business. Because that ain't you now if you're not doing it. So you have to learn. And just like everyone else, it's not like DJ, it's not like you and I were born and came out of the womb and said, man, I know everything I need to know about a multi-million dollar business. No. I'm in 4 different programs right now.
There's so much I still am soaking up. I just watching Robert Kiyosaki. I mean, this guy created this game, Cash Flow. He is, I forget who he had on the show with him, but he said Robert Kiyosaki still today is reading book after book after. He's just a sponge of books. Guy, it's when you have this quest for knowledge. Yeah, well, and that's where we both align very well. It's this, we know there's so much knowledge out there, and I just want to.
But again, it's not just the knowledge, right, DJ? How many times on the show
Well,
we
no,
said the
of course,
application
yes.
of information? Like, do something. You want to be the best in your field?
Yes.
Do it.
You can't just soak it in.
Exactly.
But there's so much out there.
Laying back.
We'll never know.
Yeah. No. I mean, I believe, and I truly believe, everyone, no matter where you are in life right now, you have 10 or 20 rungs higher that you can go.
Yes.
I don't care if you're doing a $4 million a year, you can do 8. No matter what. And it's just that perspective, that belief pattern. You know, there's a great book, the new Psycho-Cybernetics. So Psycho-Cybernetics was written by Maxwell Maltz, and it talks about your self-image, and we can never live beyond what our self-image is. So here's the thing. If y'all want a book that's really good, I mean, it's deep, and it's a listen where you got to really listen. You can't let your mind wander. Like, is a coffee maker on? But it's like you got to be in it. But Maxwell Maltz's book, Psycho-Cybernetics, is one of the best books that has ever been written on understanding the 6 inches between our ears and how it reflects in our life. Right? Like, we think about it. You first came into the business, $5,000 a month was like, holy crap. I'm not even doing $5 a week, and I got to do $5,000 a month. I got to do, $1,500 or $1,000, $1,250 a week. I'm doing $3 a week.
Yeah.
And then you get to $5,000, and somebody says, "Well, do 50," and you're like, "Whoa, that's $45,000 a month more than what I'm doing right now. That's like $10,000, $12,500 a week more than I'm doing right now." Then you get to $50,000, and then once you get there, it's like, okay, this scalable is easy. So that doesn't become the adversity. What becomes the adversity is starting to manage a team of non-like-minded individuals, because everyone has their own personality. There's different times in the month where people have things they're doing or cranky or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's all these different things happening. You come into seasons. I remember we had team members that hated the holiday season and they were just cranky all winter long. And it's like, okay, but as a manager, you got to deal with that. So that becomes a different kind of adversity, right? Where you're dealing with different people. So this is the education pattern that you learn into big business, right? So many people in business, they're like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. It's like, no, you don't do it alone, right? Like at what point in business do you say, okay, you know what? I really need to focus on my career development, on my career, not letting carrier sales develop, but on my career development. Like, and that's what I mean by learning into that next step and learning into that next phase. And Jeff said it right. He says, it's still, oh, there's Joel. He says, what's up, guys? And he says, it's a great book. Joe? Yeah, totally. It's an amazing book. Yeah. And he's talking about psycho-cybernetics. What an amazing book. But that's in essence, the perspective shift, right? Is okay, I learned that. I faced that adversity. I came through it and that worked. I'm going to utilize that next time. I know not to go down that road, right? And, before the show, DJ, we're talking about the Matrix. And, there's a line. I mean, the Matrix series is one of my favorite series ever in a movie. And the reason being is the mental side of it, the perspective shift of it. Like, we are in a matrix. We're limited by what the belief pattern is. And once we break that belief pattern, and I'm not saying, I wish I could fly, but I'm not saying I could fly or run up walls. I'd love to run up walls, actually. That'd be pretty cool. That would be so cool. but the idea is, do you remember the scene when Neo's in the car with Trinity in the back seat? And they said they get this thing out and the girl points a gun at him. And he says, I'm done. I'm out of here. And he opens a door and it's this dark alley. And she says, Neo, you've been down that road and you know where it leads. And it's not where you want to go. Right? And he takes a risk and gets rewarded. But if you think about the journey he goes through, the hero's journey in the movie, it's fought with adversity. Overcoming it, belief patterns, like shifting what do you mean I could jump buildings? I can't do that. He falls, right? It's once that belief pattern shifts, then things happen. And I'll share a perfect example. I originally, when I set out to do $1 million GP, I never thought it was possible. It was great to say. And then all of a sudden, 1 month I did 100,000. And you know what? It never surprised me when I did 100,000 in GP after that.
Yeah.
But the first month, I remember taking a picture of it, sending it to my wife, going, oh my God, I did it. Oh my God. She's like, of course you did it. I believed in you the whole time, but I didn't believe. I was like, but internally, I'm like, oh, that's kind of can't do it. You've never done it. Nobody in your family's ever done it. And all these paradigms from a kid.
Yeah,
you're a grade 9 dropout. You don't.
The recording starts playing.
Man, it was fucking insane. But then you do it and you're like, instant self-image shift. You're like, I can do it. You look at people so let's take you, for example, right? You lost a ton of weight. Yeah. If your self-image did not change to the weight level that DJ's at right now, you would have gained all that weight back.
Yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's all based on the self-image up here. And until we change that, we will never come close to achieving our goals that we want to achieve. Like, we have some big goals with our new company, big goals.
Yeah.
And we are rallying around each other. Say, these are the goals. And we are very clear. And we are probably putting more effort into the clarity to the plan that I've ever put into anything before. Because I'm a big shotgun guy. I'm like, that's where we're going. Let's friggin' go and charge. And if I hit an obstacle, I'll move it and keep going. But now it's like, okay, here's the plan, here's the method, and like we're attacking it as a group. So we're compounding the universe's power to give us what we're looking for. And I'm telling you, it's crazy how it changes the game. And even if you're doubting it in one little shape or form, when we get on a call, it's like by the time we get off the call, we're all charged to move forward. And it's friggin' awesome.
I agree.
Take in the info. Next step is to make it actionable for you. Joel, you're absolutely right. It's the application.
Nailed it, Joel. Nailed it.
Chad says, I used to eat there, really good noodles. So,
All right, let's take us out.
Matrix, yes, the Matrix. Yeah, really.
It
I
is
used
the
to eat there. Oh, you know what? He's talking about when Neo was in the car. I used to eat there. They were really good noodles. With realizing it was all a paradigm shift. I like that, Chad. Now I get it, buddy. I was looking in the comments saying that I miss a comment about a restaurant somewhere, but yeah. Way to go, Chad.
No, he's talking about Matrix.
DJ, we're way over time, and I apologize.
We are over time. Thank you, obviously, Chad, Joel, everybody else who's still on here for sticking around, even though we did go over time. Obviously, hopefully you all like our audibles. Me and Dan could talk about this stuff forever. It's really changed my life. Being aware of it has just done so many things. So thank you, Dan, my sales Yoda. Thank you to American Logistics, Centurion Trucking, Daman, for making this all possible. Don't forget to Mark is going to be with us on Friday, right? Tomorrow? I think Mark will be with us.
I think Ridley's done golfing and gallivanting.
He's done golfing, done it.
Yeah,
so he's treating us tomorrow, y'all. So Mark will be joining us. Will be a fun show. Don't miss out. Thank you. As always, Sales Chatter, 9 a.m., 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Start your day right with us. Quote to take us out is from Outwitting the Devil, Napoleon Hill. And it is, you are entitled to know that two entities occupy your body. One of these entities is motivated by and responds to the impulse of fear. The other is motivated by and responds to the impulse of faith. Will you be guided by faith, or will you allow fear to overtake you? It's your choice.
Centurion Trucking, our motto is people before profit. Today's market requires more transparency, consistency, and focus on what our clients need to win. Centurion Trucking and American Logistics are poised to help their clients achieve and surpass their targets. If you're looking for a team that honors your needs, dreams, and aspirations, then get a hold of Daman at American Logistics or Centurion Trucking.